Yeah, Chicano Studies 310 is a course on the regional music of Mexico, or more specifically the Mexican regional music, because the music itself does not belong to Mexico, but rather to Mexicans. The Mexican music itself, what we experience as Mexican music, traditional Mexican music, regional Mexican music, derives its uniqueness from the types of instruments that are used, some of which are regional, such as, let's say, the 8-string jarana, jarocha. It's a small guitar-type instrument. It's not a little guitar. It belongs to the same family, but just as a viola is not a violin, likewise a jarana, jarocha is not a guitar. It has 8 strings. It is made by carving the body from a solid block of wood and simply gluing on the soundboard. It has a very specific sound. Also, instruments such as guitarrón, which is a large bass instrument that also has a very specific sound. So the sound of Mexican music derives from these types of instruments, and also from a specific performance technique on, let's say, generic instruments such as guitar. We focus also on the lyrics, the text, because these can be important. Sometimes we find that in the case of song, some songs are songs of social protest. Sometimes we find that, well, let me give you an example of that. There is one song called La Borrachita. Contrary to what people might think, it doesn't have anything to do with a woman who drinks. It has to do with a young woman who is about to get married in the early 1900s, and before she can get married, she has to spend the first night with her patron, with the owner of the estate, with the owner of the hacienda. That was called the rite of first night. It was a terrible, hideous institution that was still found in Mexico in the early 20th century. She can't do it in her right mind, so she has to get drunk in order to do so. So it's not herself, it's not me who's sleeping with my patron, it's this other person. Anyway, the composer, Tata Nacho, wrote that piece in order to protest this institution. Mexican regional music is really of the people. It's Mexican. It's not commercial, strictly speaking. Yeah, I mean, you get performers on television with the accordion and the trappings of a mariachi and so forth, but that's pretty much something that is produced at the whim of directors and so forth. You know, is it Mexican music? Yeah, it's Mexican music. Profoundly Mexican music? No. And what we do in class, we take a profound look at Mexican music. We dig down into the roots and look at the bottom of the iceberg, not just the 10% that is visible. So it's not a question of converting them or trying to make them like it, because it's not a question of liking it, it's a question of understanding that this music has been around for centuries and it has never depended on diffusion in the media at